Hi everybody, welcome to the Lot Pod, the Leeds Rhinos Lot 17A podcast, kindly sponsored by ACD&B, who are a branding and creative design agency based in Farsley, Leeds. They create standout brands, so if any companies out there that need a brand new logo or a brand refresh, just get in touch with ACD&B. Thank you as always to them for sponsoring us. Not only do they sponsor the Lot Pod podcast, they also sponsor, produce, create, edit, publish the Lot 17A Leeds Rhinos fanzine as well. So thank you very much to them. Well, we're pleased to say we're very lucky again in that we have another Lot Pod special. Joining me as always, he is my co-host. He is my right-hand man, but he is our amazing Statman Reese. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, thank you. How are you?
Really, really well, and really chuffed. We've got yet another special guest with us. We've been quite lucky recently.
We are indeed.
Would you like to announce who's with us this evening?
Yes, tonight we've got twice a grand final winner, once a Challenge Cup winner, England international, 35 appearances for the Rhinos so far, 7 tries. It's Keara Bennett. Hi, Keara, how are you?
Hi, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Well, we're chuffed to have you on. Absolutely. Chuffed to have you on. So thank you so much. We are massive advocates for the women's game. We always push the women's game. We want more women on, or the Rhinos players on. So thank you very much for coming on. I think the best place to start is Statman Reese with questions on your career.
Yeah, I always like to sort of start, especially with the women's interviews that we do, Keara, is talking about how you got into rugby league. Now, I have looked at your profile on Leeds Rhinos, and there are mentions of watching Castleford Tigers with your dad when you were younger. So there might be some fessing up to do.
End the broadcast.
So there might be some fessing up to do. But yeah, how did you sort of get into rugby league?
Yeah, so I started rugby league when I was about 8 years old. My brother, he was playing at a club called Townville Tigers. And I remember him and my dad bringing home a tackle shield. So there was teaching my brother how to tackle in the garden. And I was like, just sat there waiting about watching my brother. And I thought, I want to give that a go. So, I ended up giving that a go, joining the boys team. So I started off at Townville Tigers, and then I'm from a village called Brotherton, and around that time there weren't many like sports community teams for anyone in the community. So my mum and dad helped set up the club there called Brotherton Bulldogs, and that's where I played the majority of my childhood rugby. Yeah.
Is that club still going then that your family set up?
Yeah. They kind of stepped away from the club as I grew older, but we're always encouraging them, and we've been back to watch and do presentations and things, which is really nice.
Oh wow, that's really special. So was it always rugby league then when you were growing up? Was there other sports that you were involved in?
Yeah, rugby league was always the main sport. I've watched it since I was a kid. Who said Castleford Tigers was my main team because I'm from around that area, which is very controversial to where I am now. But yeah. No, my mum's a Leeds Rhinos fan. My dad was Cass, and then I kind of started.
You know, I've always said I like Keara Bennett's mum. She's good. She's one of us. She's one of us.
No, she's a liner, to be fair. And then I've played like rugby union. And I did that throughout high and played for Cass Union and Yorkshire and stuff in that. That's how I actually met Fran through union.
Oh wow!
And then I just played everything as much as I could. Yeah.
So that's just of interest when you're playing rugby union then, because rugby league hooker is very different to rugby union hooker. So what position were you playing in rugby union?
Scrum half or fly half.
Scrum half or fly half. Fair enough.
Yeah. So it is quite
one of the questions. Yeah, it is fair actually. So we did have one of the questions from our listeners called Julie, who was saying how important and what influence did playing for your school team have on you, and what more can grassroots teams do to encourage girls to play?
That's like such a good question, because I'd say before going into high school, there was a couple of years where I didn't have any rugby league because it was the transitional period of not being able to play with boys. And around that time, there's not many girls teams around here. So I didn't actually start back rugby until year 7 in high school. And I think rugby was the reason I chose my high school. I went to Cass High. And they advocate like a great PE department. Rugby is like the main thing there. Champion schools we played in, so that was always my intention of why I went to Cass. But yeah, I don't think I'd be where I am today if I wouldn't have gone there potentially and played in the champion schools finals and been on the rugby team at Cass. And in terms of grassroots, I think it's important that the pathway is progressing. Just so many opportunities for girls, because I didn't have that opportunity compared to girls now. And I think it's important, especially in terms of growing the game, providing the pathways now, because they're the next phase of rugby league.
Absolutely. And I kind of hope, because on a similar vein to Fran, she kind of said similar, that she had to play in boys teams up to a point, because pretty much there was nowhere else for her to go in terms of women's, of girls rugby league. Do you think now that's changing, or has changed since yourself and Fran kind of started out your careers?
Yeah, 100%. I think we see a lot more now, especially being at Leeds. Like, the foundation provides so many pathways for girls. There's the start from younger ages now. I think it's like under 8s, under 9s, which in under 8s and under 9s we were playing with the boys. So that's positive. But then I also feel like having that experience of being with the boys, for me, potentially like toughened me up, prepared me a bit better. And it was very competitive. But yeah, I think it's going in a great direction. There's a lot more programs and things for girls now.
So moving on to when you started playing for Rhinos then. So you made your debut in May 2019. Obviously 2019 was a big year for the Rhinos women, obviously with a double winning the Challenge Cup and the grand final. How old were you when you made your debut?
16, I'd have been,
16. Wow.
Yeah.
Not many people make their debuts at 16. So how was it coming into, as a 16-year-old, what was it like going into that first team side that won the double?
Yeah, it was a big step up. It's a big step up, to be honest, coming from community to then this high intensity environment where they'd won trophies the year before. They're an established team. They've got all these big names. And at that time I was coming under for like Lois, who was a big name, who is a big name in rugby league. And unfortunately she got injured, so I had to step up for her, I guess. So I feel like there was pressure in that, but like the team environment, it was so welcoming. The staff, it just really set me up to opening me up to what I actually wanted, and just me being me, and providing what I could for the team at that time.
And then obviously last year was a great year again. Obviously we finalists in the Challenge Cup and then ended up winning the grand final. After that Grand Challenge Cup loss, did you think the grand final win was on the cards?
You know, we talk about this all the time. We went into the Challenge Cup kind of a bit unsatisfied, but also very happy with taking the loss, in terms of that's where we was at that point. I don't think we did everything we could to leading up to that to win that game, but coming off the back, that was so valuable in terms of togetherness in the team, bringing us together and identifying where we needed to step up and the areas to improve. And I think that set us in good stead to create this great momentum for the grand final. And especially at the back end of the season, I missed the semi-final with concussion. Georgia Roach, she was out with an injury. So the team had to step up, and they did that significantly. And I think that just showed the DNA of what Rhinos is, and that really helped build on for that grand final win. So it just felt so good coming off the back of such adversity, I'd say.
And then this year, probably fair to say hasn't gone to plan as far. I mean, me and Eddie were saying that you were going to win every game this year, and obviously at the time we didn't know we were going to be losing Georgia. We didn't know we were losing Fran. Obviously, we've lost Georgia Hale as well now, but we've got loads of new players in. Are you guys, or as a team, do you still think that a Challenge Cup and a grand final is a possibility?
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, even coming from the back of last year, we lost big players such as Courtney, who is a leader, provides so much in terms of the team structure and everything. But yeah, I thought we had a good optimistic start in terms of with players leaving for the NRL in Fran and Roche, and then Georgia Hale now. But definitely, like, it's still early on, and I think you can't just write us off at the minute, because it's within our nature to go under the radar, I guess, and pull it out when it counts.
It's the Rhinos way.
It actually is. That's what we talk about all the time.
Legitimately,
so yeah. So yeah, I just think. Sorry.
Go on, carry on.
No, I just think like we've got a lot to learn still, and obviously we've got a lot of new signings. So I think it's just about giving it time, because I don't think we've fully gelled as a group yet. So when that happens, I think it's going to be really exciting moving forward.
Fantastic. Ian on Twitter, Ian is one of our followers that is a massive advocate for the women's game. I think he goes to quite a lot of the women's games, to be honest, as well. And he said that you're well renowned throughout rugby league for your ability to pass accurately from the floor, probably better than most in the league. So clearing the ruck to be the second rows and the outside backs earlier into the game and attack is something that's obviously an advantage for you. He's asked, is that something that came naturally, or have you had to actively work on that passing on the floor and that distribution?
I think you have to work hard for everything. I think as a kid, all I used to do was go in the garden with my brother and pass a ball and go to the field. So I think I learned a lot from just doing that and having fun with that. And I'm a very competitive person, so I'm always like testing myself. But I do feel like it is my kind of superpower in what I provide for the team, but you can always get better, and I'm always looking to make sure my delivery is as perfect as it can be for the halfbacks. And yeah.
Do you feel like...
go on,
sorry, I've jumped in there. Do you feel like you'll stay at 9, Keara, or do you kind of look at the halfbacks, look at other positions and think, I can do that? I'll give that a go sometime.
You know, I actually wouldn't mind, like, if I got asked to move into the halfbacks or potentially loose forward, I'd love to give it a go. I always like a new challenge. But I also like the idea of making 9 my own. And
I think you've done that already, yeah.
Thank you. But no, just being the best that I can at that.
And speaking of making the number 9 your own, Leighton Rhino has asked if you'd be up for starting in the men's 17, because we might need you at the moment.
I mean, I feel like you're in good hands with Jared, to be fair. I think he's doing quite well. But, I mean, put me on the bench. I'll see what I can do.
We absolutely love Jared, predominantly because he's been on the podcast. So
yes.
Yeah.
There's no bad word to say about Jared. We love him.
Isn't at all. Lottie, should we go through the questions now we've got in general? So obviously, actually, the next question really should be, I could see it in the background. It's the England jersey. Is that your England jersey?
Yeah.
What was it like playing for England?
Oh, it was such a surreal experience. And it's one when I reflect, I just think like, I feel like I've been there, but I actually only made my debut this time last year. So making my debut against France and then being put into a World Cup was such a surreal, but such a valuable experience. And I think it's always an honour. It's always been like a dream of mine from playing as a kid. And I didn't ever think I'd be in the position where I am. But yeah, it's just an honour. It's like such a valuable in terms of playing with players around you wouldn't normally be with, but also just having a common goal in terms of wanting to be the best in the world, I guess.
Did playing for England in the World Cup on the international stage, did it make you crave more of that? Like you said, more playing for England in these internationals?
Yeah, I always say that. Definitely after the World Cup, I felt this hunger just to want to be there playing on the big stages. And I remember losing in the semi-final against the Kiwis, and it wasn't even the fact that it obviously was disappointing that we lost against the Kiwis and didn't get to the final, but it was more of the fact of leaving camp and not being in the professional environment where you are literally treated like an athlete every day, and that was your main focus.
Were New Zealand the toughest opponent you faced? Because, I mean, it looks quite a ruthless game watching it from the telly. But, is that the toughest opponent you've had in your career so far?
Yeah, 100%. Like the just physicality, the intensity of the game. It was very physically tough. They just have so much experience, I guess, to that intensity. What I say we wouldn't get each week, but I feel like they are exposed to that each week. But I feel like we did hold our own in a lot of aspects. They were a bit overpowering, I guess.
So we always like to talk about your career at first, but then really the purpose of these interviews, these specials, is really to get to know you as a person. So Eddie, do you want to crack on with some of the questions we've got to go through this evening?
So this might be your dream job, this playing rugby league. I'm going to assume it is, playing for Leeds Rhinos, playing for England. But I suppose the question here is, what is your dream job? So if it is rugby league, then what would you be doing if you weren't a rugby league player? What do you think your perfect job would be?
Okay. So I'd like to think that if I wasn't a rugby league player, that I'd have a lot of time on my hands, so then I could be like a doctor or something, because I feel like I'm a person who can help people and save people's lives. So I feel like that would be good.
That's a really sensible answer.
It was actually. As answers go, that was no, it's like a firefighter or like a travel blogger. And that was really profound, actually.
But realistically, I'm actually like gonna go down the route of like maybe psychology or like a PE teacher.
Oh wow,
fair enough.
Reece, who wants to be a travel blogger?
I don't know. I just couldn't think of anything in the moment in the time. I don't know. Hang on. To get to travel around the world and people pay me to do it, I'm happy for that.
Yeah, that's true. That is such a get to see everywhere.
You're not down with the kids, Eddie. Me and Keara are a lot younger than you. It's fine. Or Kira's a lot.
All right.
Yeah. You mentioned it. Obviously, you did play some other sports growing up. What other sports were you good at?
I used to like netball, but I feel like now I'm quite small for that. When I look at the other netballers, especially at Rhinos, I'm like looking up to it. It's so weird.
What about 6 foot, aren't they?
Yeah, I don't think I'd be good at that. And then football, I feel like I was all right at football. Sometimes we play for fun and at training, and I always get told off for like taking someone's ankles out or kicking people's shins. So I should probably stay away from football.
Can you not? Are you one of those people that when you're playing other sports sort of socially, you can't do it half-assed? Like when I used to play TMP, like before training, I'd be running in like full pelt because I just can't do sport half-hearted.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's me. I get told off all the time. I just need to chill, apparently.
What other sports do you enjoy watching? Any sports that you particularly enjoy watching on telly?
I mean, I like watching the football, especially when like England's playing.
Who do you support, Keara?
Who does support? No, I'm not having this conversation because I'm not an avid footballer, so I can't like. But I do like to watch Man United, to be fair.
And the broadcast. That's two now. And the broadcast.
What's your favourite music at the moment?
Okay, so my ultimate favourite song is "Murder on the Dance Floor."
Really? Sophie Alex Baxter?
Yeah, really.
Oh, were you even alive when that was released?
I'm just going to Google that whilst we're doing that.
I wasn't, but...
Is there a reason for that? Is there some sentimental value or...?
No, I just think I'm quite a good dancer, I'd say. So
that you kill it on the dance floor.
Yeah, literally, that is like my theme tune. I always say when I'm like dead or whatever, that is my funeral song, literally.
I think, Keara, you're the only person to ever exist that has given that song as the answer to that question, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone else.
But then in terms of other music, I feel like I'm quite an old soul, so I like a bit of soul, a bit of like 90s, 80s mold.
When Eddie grew up, you mean?
Yeah, sure.
What's your favourite holiday destination then, Keara? And obviously, Australia might be one to go see Fran and Georgia, but...
Yeah, definitely that is on the cards because I want to go experience that and I want to obviously see them. But based on the place I've been, I went to New York this year and that was so good. It was the best. So yeah, I just loved how fast paced it was. Just everything there, the monumental like buildings and things. It was so good.
When did you go, Sonny? Did you say this year?
Yeah, I went in March. So the weather was a bit up and down. It was like sunny one minute, it was like snowing the next, and then it was absolutely chucking it down. But it was good.
New York always seems to me to be a place to be at Christmas, because there's so many films based around. I'd love to go. That's just my thoughts there. Favorite foods, and foods that you don't like, foods that you can't stand.
I'm actually not a fussy eater, so anything that's put in front of me, I will eat. But my favourite, I'd probably say like Mexican or like Nando's, that type of vibe.
Do you tag along with Sophie Robinson because she's the one with the food blog that a lot of us are like?
She's a food guru. Wow.
She is a foodie. No, she has got her own Instagram and everything, which is quite good. But yeah, like any opportunity she asks me to go out with her, I'll go out with her for food.
I don't blame you. And then have you got any bad habits at all?
Bad habits? I don't know, I let my car get very messy. I feel like it's either clean or it's like got everything in, and
there's no in between.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's like full of rubbish. I'd just say it because I like move from place to place where I live in terms of uni and rugby. So I just feel like I need everything in my car in case I need it. So I just put it all in.
like a mobile home, really, isn't it?
Basically.
Take it all with you. This is a very famous Lot Pod question, and if you did watch the Fran Gunthorpe special, we asked her this, so we can't quite remember where or who asked this question, can we, Reece?
Someone asked this to Danny Maguire.
It originally came from when we had Danny Maguire on Keara, and we kind of thought that's such a weird question. We'll have to ask everyone. So here it is. So strap yourselves in. Would you rather wake up covered in ham every day and have no reason why? You don't know why you're covered in ham. You just are. Or sweat mayonnaise?
I feel like there's pros and cons to both. So
I love how, again, more thought getting into this question.
Okay, so I'd say that mayonnaise is actually one of my favourite condiments, okay?
Right.
But it depends.
Are you saying your argument of sweating mayonnaise is that if you are just having a burger or just got some chips that you can just go for a run a bit?
Jumps.
Yeah, do some star jumps and go, I've got your love, don't worry.
That could be good for making a profit, could it not?
See? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's...
KB mayo.
Exactly. But I think it depends on what type of mayo is it? Is it like Heinz? Is it like light mayo because you need to watch your calories? Like
Hellman's,
exactly
surely. I mean, Hellman's is where
we need more criteria for this thing, don't we? It needs more.
Okay.
Need fleshing out. Is it Heinz mayo? Is it light mayo? Is it Asda's own?
But then I also feel like if you've just got ham on you, then you can just take it off and just get a shower, and then it's done with for the day.
And then you're done with, yeah.
On a similar vein, would you rather have tiny little baby hands or ears the size of an elephant? Bear in mind that you play the position of hooker in rugby league. The tiny hands might not work best, but
that's a valid point. Actually, I feel like I want some big ears anyway because, like, you could hear everything, but it might weigh you down.
That's true. That is true. What would you choose, Reese?
I mean, I've already got a massive nose, so I might as well just bring an ears into the equation as well.
Big ears as well.
Yeah, just get the full compliment, I think. No, just regarding this next question, by the way, I'm just going to jump in for 2 seconds because when we did the teammate questions with Fran, you were nominated as the lightweight of the Rhinos women's team, or that Fran knew. So, do you want to go into this question, Eddie?
What's your drink of choice?
So you want to know my alcoholic beverage of choice? Is that what you want to know?
Well, Fran said tea.
Yeah, she did. She said tea, yeah.
She said, you can't beat a cup of tea.
No, she does like a tea. And, funnily enough, we stocked her up with Yorkshire tea.
Before she went?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
And bourbon biscuits because she loves bourbon biscuits.
She mentioned that as well.
She was having a full-on panic on this pod about not getting bourbon biscuits in Australia.
Yeah.
But, yeah, what's your drink of choice? Are you on the same line as a cup of tea then, or...?
I do like a cup of tea, to be honest. I have one like every day, to be fair. Yeah. But then if we're talking about alcoholic beverages, it's probably got to be like vodka orange.
Classic.
Yeah. But the only reason why she says I was a lightweight was because I had hold of Prosecco, and Prosecco and me go straight to my head. So that was...
Everyone's got a danger drink, haven't they?
Yeah.
But yeah. What's your favourite TV show?
Oh, that's easy. Grey's Anatomy. I've watched that like hundreds of times.
Have you watched it all the way through? Because
all the way through.
Half, I don't know how you can. There's like 27 series, isn't there?
Wow.
Yeah, there's 20 series, and I've watched all of it all the way through like at least 5 times.
So if you were on like Mastermind, Keara, would Grey's Anatomy, would that be your specialist subject?
100%. Easy.
I've never seen 1 second of it. I've heard of it, but never ever seen it.
It's so good.
Who are your heroes? Have you got some heroes, some idols, perhaps growing up that you kind of looked up to?
So obviously there weren't as many female role models in terms of rugby league. But I always looked up to like Paul McShane, obviously because it was like Cass. But then like Robbie Burrows because he was like same position around my size. And then also like Cam Smith from Oz and Johnny Thurston. And then in terms of female role models, I played a bit under Brenda Dobeck, or trained under her. So she's a pioneer for rugby league. So I learned a bit off of her. And then obviously Lois, she's taught me for a long time through community. And then obviously is my coach now. So that's been a nice journey to be on.
Yeah. Lois seems to have that connection with quite a lot of the Rhino squad, actually, because I think Fran mentioned she came to her school, and that's kind of when she got it. And obviously, you've worked with Lois a long time. Is that just something that says something about Lois herself, in that she tends to have a lot of a bond, especially with the younger players that have come through Rhinos?
Yeah, 100%. She's such a good advocate for rugby league and girls. But I think for me, especially being in my position, I've learned a lot from her. That was even before she was my coach. Now. But yeah, she's just so good with like developing and meeting everyone's different needs. And yeah, she's always on the same page with you, which is really good. And she's very driven, which makes it so good. And I think the fact that she does have these personal relationships in terms of her journey, transitioning from a player to a coach, is really unique. And I think that's so important in terms of togetherness and being on that ride together.
What's something that's popular but that you think is boring? Is anything that you think, like, people, it could be a TV show or anything that you think, well, I think that's boring? Could be anything. What's popular but that you think's boring?
What's popular? It's actually quite a tough one.
What did Fran say?
Fran said golf.
Golf. She said she couldn't understand
Right,
golf.
the thing is, she says golf, but we've been to the driving range before together, and she's so good at it. She's like hitting them, and they're going so far. And I'm there swinging and missing.
And then she comes on here and says she can't stand golf, even though she's good at it.
Yeah. No, she does. She's good at golf, to be fair. Well, she's good at everything. That's the problem.
Yeah, I think she did admit that it annoys people that she can kind of take to most sports and be quite good at it at the bare minimum. So she did have the self-awareness to understand she's pretty much great at everything.
No, she is in terms of sport, and I think that annoys a lot of people, but like that just makes her her. But in terms of this question, I don't know, like what do you think?
Popular but boring. Perhaps we should remove this question.
To be honest, football. I think football's boring. To be honest,
football's about.
I don't like football. It was just a brainwashing from my dad to watch Leeds United, but I actually watch football and I think it's really, really boring. To be honest,
F1. I said that with Fran. I don't like F1. I don't like darts. I don't like golf either. Other than that, yeah. Let's remove this question, Reece.
Well, it's our favorite. It's our favorite question section coming up anyway. Next, which is the questions about teammates. Now, you can be as open and honest as you want, Keara, regarding this. You can be as brutal as you want. You can be as kind as you want. I will say you were nominated 4 times by Fran, 2 positive and 2 negative. I can't remember if you got any nominations under Sophie when we did the interview with Sophie Robinson.
I don't think.
But you were nominated by Fran for funniest, lightweight, teacher's pet, and hard worker.
I'm the hardest worker.
So, but we'll start with the first one, which is who's the fastest teammate? Who's the fastest player you've played with?
Who I've played with?
Yeah, fastest player. Yeah.
Oh, there's a few. I'd say obviously Fran is rapid, but then like currently in the squad now, it's between like Amy Ardcastle, Bethan Dainton, Caitlin Beavers potentially. I actually statistically don't know who's the fastest, but I definitely know. I feel like it is between Amy and Bethan at the minute.
Who would stick their hand up in the squad at the moment and say, "I'm the fastest"?
I think maybe Amy would.
Is she?
Yeah.
I think she would.
So if Amy's the fastest, or one of the fastest, you can probably see where these questions go. Who's the slowest?
Oh, that's harsh. I'd say I'm not going to answer who's the slowest runner, but I'm going to say who's the slowest, like mentally, to get onto a task.
Isn't that worse?
No, that's not worse. In terms of like slowest to like react, I'd say there's this Jenna. You'll literally say something to her. I'll be like, Jenna, do you want the ball? She's like, oh yeah. She's just so casual.
Oh yeah, I'm playing rugby league.
Oh yeah, I'm ready.
No one's interpreted that question that way before, but I love it. I think that was a better interpretation. Than
that should be the angle now, Reece.
Yeah.
The fastest runner. Who's the slowest mentally?
So I feel like she's, yeah.
So we'll flip back onto the positive side now. Who was the best dressed?
Can you remember who Fran said? I can't remember.
Tara? I remember talking about sneakers. Is it Shannon's got a really good sneaker game?
Shannon has so many shoes. They are so good. She has like loads of boxes full. She literally treats herself like every week. So good.
But so from your impression, who's the best dressed teammate?
Okay, probably Ellie Frayne or potentially Sophie Robinson.
I think Sophie got mentioned with Fran actually.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We tried to find because with one of our questions with the men when we talked to a lot of the older players in Danny Maguire and stuff, Keith Senior was the first name mentioned for who's the tightest. Like everyone said it in a second, so it's quite interesting. And the more and more we do of these, the more common names.
To see if there's a theme. There's a common element.
Because eventually we want to get that person on so we can talk about how tight they are or everything else.
So that's the best dressed. Who's the worst dressed, Keara?
Ella Johnson. I can say that because we're good pals, but I back my answer up because every outfit she wears, she will put these Doc Martens on with them. Even if they don't go, she'll put them on. So it's very questionable, and I do feel like she's edgy, and I support that. But the Doc Martens every time,
they've got to go.
Yeah.
So the next one, who's the funniest? Now you got this nomination, so I'm intrigued to see who you think's the funniest teammate that you've had.
See, if we're cancelling me out because I do feel like I'm up there, then I would say who's the funniest. Right, Danny Anderson. She has the driest humour ever, and she doesn't mean to be funny, but the way she says things is just hilarious. She'll just be casual. I can just picture in my head, but yeah, I'd say her. Tasha comes out with some funny things. Ellie Frayne, she's just so laxy daisy sometimes. So some things she does is very funny. But yeah, I do feel like there is a lot of characters. Even Lois, she's quite funny, but don't tell her that.
She won't watch this.
No, she won't.
Who's the most boring teammate?
Okay. So oppositely, Danny Anderson again, because she's...
You know the next guest is Reese.
Would you tell Danny this to her face?
Yeah, she's that boring. She wouldn't come on, okay?
She wouldn't come on.
I don't think she would come on. But I just say this because she's very she's not socially, she'll just be on her own, or she won't come out on the social gatherings. But that's same with Shannon Lacey. It's important if Shannon's coming out because she's barely comes out.
Yeah, Fran said similar. She said it were Shannon because she never comes out.
Yeah.
But she comes out, she wears amazing sneakers, and everyone's probably looking at sneakers by looks of things.
She does. She shows
I do want to
up.
see these sneakers, actually. The next question.
Lot Pod Shannon Lacey sneaker special.
Oh, she gets some Lot Pod sneakers, actually. I'm all for
that. She can just stand there and say, these are the Nike. And just show them all off. We'll all go, woo.
Who is the teacher's pet?
Everyone says me.
That's Keara. Next question.
But I feel like Beavers, especially when the twins were there, she always would go to them and get advice from them. So from previous experience, if it's not me, her.
Yeah. Who is the most intelligent?
Eloise, she's actually she's got 3 different degrees, I swear.
3? Wow.
Yeah, she's just finishing a final one, I think, at the minute. So she's very intellectually smart. Ellie Frayne is actually very intellectual.
Ellie Frayne's been a lot of these answers too, Reese.
She is. And then I feel like the army girls, Kaya, maybe not Bethany, but I feel like they're quite smart and they're very aware in terms of what they do.
Yeah.
So I think I know the answer to this question. The answer, I think it came from the pod we did with Danica.
It rang true from Danica, I think, the answer to this one. I think
to
it's
Sophie
exactly
and to Fran. But who's the biggest drinker in the team?
You already know it's Hannah Butcher.
Yeah.
Hannah Butcher, if she hasn't got a Budweiser in her hand, then you need to be concerned. It's her really...
What, even at half time?
No. She's very sensible around trainings and stuff, but she does enjoy a Budweiser on a weekend, when we're not playing and stuff.
Yeah.
I've heard plural Budweiser, to be fair. From what I've heard.
I feel we should get us sponsored by it.
Yeah.
Exactly what we said last time.
Exactly. Every time Hannah Butcher's name has been mentioned on this podcast, Budweiser has followed it, and how much Budweiser she can drink.
She can drink, that girl.
that's just rang true. She's definitely the biggest drinker. Hannah's the biggest drinker. Who's the lightweight? Now, you kind of briefly touched on this before saying yourself, but is there anyone else that's a bit of a lightweight?
Right, so when Rochi was with us, she always used to backdoor it. So I'd say she was up there.
Sorry, backdoor it?
Yeah, run off.
Yeah, do you not know what that means?
Right. Oh, like a dynamo, like just go off.
Like she's had enough, like she's had too much to drink, she needs to go home.
Yeah, I like that. That's normally me. I normally self-nominate quite often. Not because I'm a lightweight, because my mates know me for I just take a deep breath and go, it's time to go home, isn't it? I'm off. Just come on, old man. But yeah.
Yeah, and I also feel like Beth Lockwood, she can sometimes have too much to drink and she's gone.
Is that Prosecco as well, is it? Or...
I think she's a cider drinker, to be fair, not Prosecco.
Oh, nice.
So moving away from stuff off the pitch, but now onto the pitch, who is the best trainer?
Caitlin Beavers, Hannah Butcher, they're like good leaders. They set their standard. I think everyone is very good in terms of when we're at training, getting the job done.
When you're on the tackle pads, is there someone that if you're holding the tackle pad, you look at going, oh crap, I don't want them to be tackling me?
Right, I'm just saying this because Sophie Nuttall, she ends up like either injuring other people or injuring herself. So I feel like she's quite, you don't know what's going to happen there. So I feel like she's one. She's like a silent assassin. Let's just put that there.
Interesting. Because obviously Caitlin put the big hit in. That's where the question came from my head. Caitlin got a bit of viral.
You to hit on Keara. Yeah. That would a bell ringer, that.
That was so good.
That was the best trainer. You can kind of see where these are going. Who's the worst trainer, Keara?
The worst trainer. Oh, this is harsh. I don't want to go to training and be like, it was all right. It was all right for Fran. She'd finished training at this point.
No, that's what we said.
You can say what you want now. You're flying over to the other side of the bloody world.
I've got to go show my face tomorrow.
You can do a Derek O'Connor if you want. And he just said, no, we all train really hard and we're all really top professionals.
Yeah,
next question.
Boring answer.
Yeah, we're very professional. No rubbish trainers.
There you go. She's done the Derek O'Connor on us.
Yeah.
So who is the tightest? Who's the one that never buys a drink?
Right, even though she's gone, it is Fran. And I know that because I've known her for years, okay? And I always know that I always pay for more drinks than she does. And yeah it is her.
She did nominate herself, actually.
She did say herself. Yeah, she did. She put it down to being a uni student and... yeah, lots of excuses.
I swear half the team are also uni students as well.
And everyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is her.
Who would you prefer to be stuck in a lift with in terms of your teammates?
Okay, I feel like I have a few for this.
All right.
Can I say a few?
Yeah, go for it.
First of all, I know who I wouldn't want to be stuck in a lift with, and that's Tasha Gates.
Yeah, that's
the Gates. Yeah,
she's just
I think Fran said something like the lift would fall or something like that.
No, she's just too energetic to like be stuck in a confined space with. But in terms of being stuck, when Gail, that's Georgia Hale, I made up a nickname for her.
I thought you were looking at Gail, to be honest. That's what I thought.
Gail.
When Gail was in the squad, I'd probably say her because she's on the bus or anything. She'd always like to like play a game, or she loves word games. So I feel like that'd pass the time. And then I feel like Bethan is someone I'd want to be stuck in a lift with because I always have fun with her. But I also feel like she's quite panicky, so maybe she's not the right person. Kaya, potentially, she could be good to be stuck in a lift with in terms of, I don't know, she's she's in the army and stuff, so maybe she's dealt with situations like that.
You'd get out. She'd find a way to get out.
I hope so. And then finally, I feel like Eloise actually could get me out of a lift, maybe. I actually do. I don't know, because she's just quite smart, so who knows? Hopefully I'm not stuck in a lift with any of them.
No, we don't want you to get stuck in the lift ever.
And the final question, sorry. So we'll finish on a positive one. Who is the most skillful teammate?
That's tough. Probably the one I've played with. I've got to say Georgia Roach. Like, no one's come close at the minute in terms of just pure core skill, ability to read the game. I don't think, there's just at the minute no one who laces her boots. Sorry.
I mean, it's actually quite a good tangent. Obviously, this week she got announced that she signed that 5-year deal in the women's.
Massive deal. That
just shows how good she was. Australia, obviously, for you, is that an ambition? Is that a target at all?
Yeah, 100%. I think it's something that I want to experience, and I'm lucky that I'm still young to be able to give that time. Like at the minute, I'm just looking at Leeds, building there, coming into my own in terms of England, but also like just having a backup plan. So it's my last year of uni next year, so that's really important for me. So knuckle down with that, and then potentially look into new horizons eventually.
Reese, can you please stop touting all of the Rhinos women's players to the NRL, please?
I only say because I'm so pleased with Georgia and Fran being pioneers of British rugby league in going down there, and I'm confident they'll both absolutely smash it. And it is that thing because I'd rather Georgia and Fran have stayed, and because I think that side with yourself and Caitlin and with Amy Hardcastle in there would have been a unstoppable side. But I think I don't know if you agree with me, Keara. I think for the women's game to grow, it means more people come up through our system, but it means that to beat the likes of Australia, to play the likes of New Zealand, playing with them week in, week out will give us better chance for our England women team to develop. I don't know if you agree with that, Keara.
Yeah, 100%. I think they're going to be exposed to a much higher intensity each week. The whole significance of what the NRL is over there, it's the biggest competition, it's undeniable. And I think the more people and the more exposure we get to experiencing that is going to be so valuable in terms of what they're going to offer when they come back, especially internationally. But also, as much as it's so good going and seeking that experience, it's important to build what we have over here and get the competition good over here, so we're going to be able to compete and not have to go overseas. And I think them going over there starts a conversation in terms of you taking the biggest names out of Women's Super League. You obviously don't want to take any more. So I feel like that is a real kick for hopefully the RFL to see what we can do over here, and then make some good progress, especially towards the next World Cup, because we all are very ambitious and we want to be challenging the likes of Australia and New Zealand. And I think with the talent coming through, it's a potential if we just grow the game.
Brilliant.
What an excellent response to finish on.
Thank you.
Unbelievable. Keara, thank you so much for coming on with us. It's been an absolute pleasure.
No, thank you.
Good luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thanks to Keara. Thanks to Reese. We'll be back to review the Wakefield game sometime over the weekend. Next week, sorry. See you soon.